Hello everyone and welcome back. Today's going to be like a talk through tutorial on the look I'm wearing right now, and basically it's not really a tutorial because it doesn't take much to just blend some eyeshadow on your eyes and things like that, but I'm just showing you this because basically this is what I've been doing for like an everyday look. I will show you the variations and different colors and things I may use, but I normally do not have an everyday routine. Like I would change up everything every day except for like my brows. Like I used to never wear the same foundation twice in 1 week. Like my eyeshadows would change every day, my blush color would change every day, things like that. I would wear a different lipstick every day. Like I never used to wear the same things over and over, except for 2019. Like the minute it hit 2019, I found all these products that I like together, and basically that's what's happened. I haven't strayed away from these products much at all. There are some things like my foundation that I used in this video is literally the only foundation I've used this year. I haven't touched any of my others. Show you the techniques that I use and everything that will get me this really nice everyday look and how it will last, because I am super oily, really badly oily. So I show you how I make everything last. If you guys are interested in seeing how I got this nice everyday look and the products that I use, just keep watching. Okay, hello everyone. So I am obviously here barefaced, no makeup on. My face has been washed and moisturized, so I use my Garnier cleanser that I love, my Sukin eye cream, I've started using it again, and also my Simple moisturizer. I do apologize if you can hear some like background noises. My cat, which is currently over there, is chasing her tail everywhere and she's just being a pain, so apologies for that. But I have been trying to like start this video for like an hour, but she just keeps making noise and I give up waiting, so you can put up with listening to her. So today I'm going to take you through the products, the techniques, and the complete routine that I use, or that I have been using on pretty much a daily basis. So if you're interested, then here we go. First thing I use is foundation, and my go-to foundation is the Maybelline Matte and Poreless. This one's actually in the shade 112. My tan has faded quite a bit. I still have like the really big tan lines, but like the darkness of it has faded. However, I think the shade 112 is like matches me a little bit more. It's more neutral. I am very yellow, so if they could make the tone of 110 but darker, like that'd be great. But I bought the shade 112 because it is slightly darker, and I find now it doesn't make me look as ghostly. I've got like one use left of the shade 110. Don't even know if I will use it because I bought this shade, but this one is Natural Ivory 112, so I did buy this. And I think it's nice. If I use certain powders, I can make it pretty much match me perfectly. Maybe just a slight difference in the tone, but if it's neutral, I find it's okay. I can get away with that. But if it's like pink, then I can't. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of this on the back of my hand. But this is my favorite everyday foundation. I do also like the L'Oreal matte one, but it's just too expensive for me to be using all the time. This Maybelline one is much cheaper. I'm going to apply it with the Chi Chi sponge that I have. These sponges are like $6. This one has like had it. Honestly, I probably should have thrown it out like a month ago. But I don't even know when I'm going to be able to get another one. So I'm keeping it. It still works, but like it's got a little tear in it, and it's looking a bit funky, but it still works. This is my favorite shape, the yellow one. There we go, the foundation's all applied. I can see there's a very slight tone difference, but honestly it's not even that bad. If I had some really horrendous breakouts, or if my face was super red, I would use my Pop Feel Green Corrector. I do actually use this quite a bit. This is actually my second one, because I actually really like green correctors. I need to try and find a nice peach one. This one doesn't come in a peach, but I really need to find a peach one for under my eyes. But if my face was super red, I would do that, but pretty much this foundation's covered like everything except for that one spot there, and I don't even think the corrector would cover that because it's more like it's been bleeding. But as you can see, the foundation's nice and smooth on my face. I wouldn't say it's full coverage, because in real life I can still see tiny bits of my redness. I can still see like stuff coming through on my forehead and things like that. You can still tell I've got some breakouts and had breakouts on my chin, so I haven't made it full coverage, but I can. And I really like this. I have to say, this shade again doesn't make me look as ghostly, so I like it. Next thing, I'm going to use concealer, and I'm going to use the Maybelline Instant Age Rewind just because this is nearly empty. I would use the Fit Me concealer. I love the Fit Me concealer for a daily basis type of thing, but this is so close to being empty. I just want to empty this because I actually don't like this concealer. It is way too like dewy, and it creases horrendously, and it never sets properly no matter what I do. So I'm just using this to use it up. I know a lot of people who really like this concealer, and I've had it recommended to me by so many girls who work at like the chemists and things, and they're like, oh, this is one of the best, and I'm like, yeah, but it looks terrible on me. Completely terrible. It's never enough coverage, and it's like so dewy that I almost can't use it. Just on my eyelids over the top of the concealer, I'm going to apply a bit of my MAC Soft Ochre Paint Pot, regardless if I wear eyeshadow or not, or anything. I use this because it's like the only thing that stops my lids from going too oily, too greasy. I can use the ColourPop No Filter concealer, but I do tend, the shade that I have is so pale. I tend to only use that like when I'm doing intense looks because it's just so pale. My eyelids and under my eyes, I'm mixing my Australis powder with some of my Maycheer powder, and I'm going to be using my like angled foundation brush for this. I've come to the conclusion this is the best brush for me to use to set under my eyes because it really packs on the powder. I can add coverage with it as well, so like because it packs on the powder, I don't need to have my concealer at full coverage completely, and it just actually sets my concealer, because a lot of times my concealer doesn't set. Like I have the biggest issues with concealer and like foundation in general just not setting on my face because it just doesn't want to. So there we go, my top of my eyes and under my eyes have been set. I'm actually just going to put a little bit more powder out on the outer corners here because I always forget and it makes the biggest difference. So now I'm going to bake. I always bake pretty much. If I don't want my makeup to last, like I won't bake, but I won't wear makeup then. So it's basically like if I wear makeup now, I bake, unless I'm just filming a makeup tutorial. I may not bake, but even then I need to bake. So the powder that I use is my Hyosung loose powder. This is in shade 1, which is basically just white. They have 2 other shades as well, but they were for darker skin, obviously. So this is like almost white. It's got like the slightest hint of a skin tone, and I love using this Chi Chi sponge to bake with because it really picks up the powder and presses it on beautifully. I find this one, compared to my Beauty Blender, this one doesn't like poof the powder everywhere, if that makes sense. It might seem a bit excessive, but this is what I need to do to make my makeup last. So I bake basically my T-zone. Because this foundation is more matte, I don't need to bake the sides of my face. However, if I was wearing something like the Rimmel 25 Hour foundation, or even Rimmel Match Perfection, or Dermakohl, if I used any shade of Dermakohl, if I decided I wanted this but like to really amp up the coverage, I put Dermakohl in. I need to bake my entire face when I use Dermakohl, because it is just so waxy that it doesn't set on my face whatsoever. So I need to bake with Dermakohl. This, I just need to bake my T-zone. This, I try and leave it on for like as long as possible when I'm getting ready. Sometimes that's only 10 minutes. Sometimes, like when I'm sitting here, I've got all the time in the world today because it's Sunday and I'm not going anywhere. So I'm just showing you guys. But like when I'm in a rush, I can literally do my makeup in like 10 minutes, but I will leave the bake on. I can still put my bronzer and my highlighter on and like leave my bakeage on. Sometimes I don't bring it all the way out, but this is just how I bake. While my face is baking, that's when I do everything else. So usually the first thing I go and do is my brows, and I'm just trying to find my brush. Here it is. I'll use my Anastasia brush today. And as usual, I do use my e.l.f. brow kit. This is in the shade medium. This one is almost gone, as you can see. The gel's pretty much gone. I have a backup. But I am going to do my brows. Again, my foundation out here hasn't been completely set yet. Like, it does set on its own, but because I'm so oily, I need to set everywhere. So it hasn't completely, like, I haven't set it with powder, so I can still go in with my concealer and like fix things up if I have to. Whereas if I just use pressed powder all over my face, like, I can't do that. But I'm just going to do my brows. I'll show you guys on camera, but I'll speed through it. Okay, so my brows have been done, but I do need to fix them up a little bit, and the concealer that I use for this is the Rimmel Match Perfection. This thing's gonna last me like forever because I seriously only use it on my brows. I bought it once and then like didn't use it for like a year because I forgot that I had it. And then one day I was like, oh, I should use it to help my brows, because I just use this little, I use the brush it comes with, and it's like the best thing ever to carve out my brows. Now they do have different packaging. This is the old packaging of it, and I don't know if there's a lighter colour, but this is in the shade Ivory. There, that is all I'm doing today, because otherwise I'm going to mess it up too much. I am aware this brow is like thicker than this one, but whatever, I don't care. I'm not too fussy. I just like my brows to be bold because I've basically got no eyebrows anyway. Now I move on to my eyes, and if I am in a really big rush, I will just use the powder from the e.l.f. brow kit as just a simple eyeshadow. I will put it in my crease and then a bit on my lower lash line. I'm not going to show you that today just because I want to show you the whole thing. The brush I would use for that is just this simple blending brush, and then of course my pencil brush. But today I want to show you the whole thing. So I'm going to use my Huda Beauty Mauve Obsessions palette. I know this is like super expensive and things like that, but this is like perfect for my everyday look. So I am trying to find a suitable blending brush. Here it is. So I have this blending brush that's very similar to the MAC 224, but it's like an Avon brush or something, I don't know. And I will use different tones of this for different things. Like if I want a more purple tone, I'll use this shade. If I want it to be warmer, I'll use this and mix in the red. So like different things call for, you know, I will use this for different colours. And different colours for different looks and things. I am going to start off with this warm shade in the top here, just a little bit to begin with because it's very pigmented. And I'm just going to start blending that in my crease. It's going to look super pale at first, but I like to build up the colour, particularly if I'm not going for a super intense look. I like to build the colour up because then it's not going to be like super intense. Okay, so here we go. I've got my first colour on. And sometimes I just leave it like this. I'll put a little bit on my outer corner and some on my lower lash line and then I'm done. But today I want to deepen it up a little bit, and I am going to take just a little bit of this purple colour that's in the bottom here. This is generally the look I go for when I grab this palette on like a daily basis. So that's why I'm doing this one today. Everything always looks super blended and like amazing and beautiful on my right eye, and the second I get to my left eye, nothing wants to blend. Like I've tried different primers, I've tried different brushes, I've tried different eyeshadows, and it's just my left eye. Literally nothing will blend. Like this can look super amazing and like nice and soft and subtle and blown out, and this will have like the super harsh line right there because basically it just doesn't want to blend. Nothing wants to blend on my left eye, and then things will look over blended because then I just keep blending, and then all of a sudden it's like over blended and it looks gross. So that's why I hate my left eye. For my lower lash line, I'm going to keep it very simple, and I'm just going to mix the two colours together. Mostly the warm brown, but a tiny bit of the purple. So there we go for that eye. So that's it for my eyeshadows. For my inner corner, I'll just use a little bit of my Macea white powder because my inner corners are slightly too dark at the moment for me to use that shade in the Huda palette. I can sometimes use it if I have like full coverage concealer or something on, but with how bad my under eyes have been lately, there's no such thing as full coverage concealer on me. Before I put my mascara on, I will dust the baking off in that because otherwise I always get powder in my lashes and it looks terrible. So I always dust it off with the e.l.f. complexion brush. I'm just buffing it into my skin and outwards as well because then it just sort of helps to set the outside of my face. And because baking like makes everything look super pale, I'm just going to go over my face with the Model Co Invisible Matte Powder. Some of you girls with dry skin are probably going to be sitting here freaking out because, you know, I have so much powder on my face. But this is how I get my makeup to last if I want it to last. Sometimes if I'm just filming, I'll just use pressed powder, but if I want my makeup to look good for a while, this is what I do. And I can't seem to get the baking on these bits to blend out. Of course, now I do bronzer, and I'm just going to use my NARS bronzer today because it's like the only one at the moment that's dark enough for me to use. My others all look too pale with this coloured foundation for some reason. And it's a very sad time. My NARS bronzer has completely shattered. When I say my bronzer shattered, I mean it shattered. Like every time I open this, I get powder everywhere because it's so shattered. And I mean, it was so sad because I actually really like it. I go through time periods where I think it looks orange and I freaking hate it. And then I go through periods of time where it's like the best thing I've ever used. Look like I've applied a lot of blush and a lot of bronzer, but please keep in mind I am super oily and my face will like absorb a lot of these products and a lot of this color, and so like in an hour or two it'll all be settled down and it'll look a lot more natural. At the end of the day, my bronzer and blush will wear off a lot more than someone with dry skin. No matter how oily I get, it just happens because I'm so oily. Now my current go-to highlighter is the Mary Luminizer because it's actually, my foundation now is like dark enough I can wear it without having like an obvious orange stripe on my face. So I do only apply little bits, because particularly if I have a glowy blush, I only apply little bits. Some days I don't apply highlighter at all. Some days I go with my Rimmel matte blush, my Rimmel matte bronzer, sorry, a matte blush, no highlighter, and like just these matte eyeshadows, and I go for an all matte look, and it's absolutely amazing. But I thought I'd show you everything. Mascara, and the first one I'm going to use is my Maybelline Pumped Up Colossal, and then I actually have my CoverGirl Lash Blast Fusion. This is in black. This, for some reason, dumbass me, bought it in black, brown, and waterproof. The waterproof part I don't really care about because my micellar water removes it all, but I bought it in black, brown, so I don't even know what I was thinking when I got it, but whatever. I use the Maybelline one first. So my lashes are fairly dramatic, but it's not like, oh my god, she's wearing falsies dramatic. I find this Maybelline mascara, I can't get too dramatic. They are both more volumizing than they are lengthening. But you know, mascara's mascara, and I obviously, you know, you can see my lashes now, so that's the best point. And on a daily basis I stop here, particularly if I'm going to TAFE or something like that, because I will be eating morning tea or lunch. I don't want to have to worry about trying to wipe off a lipstick in front of like hundreds of people, because I tend to smudge it everywhere or wipe like half my foundation off. So throughout the day I usually just take my Nivea Hydro Care lip balm with me everywhere. I will wipe off the foundation on my lips, and I will just put that on. But if I'm going all out, I will put a lipstick on or something, or a liquid lipstick, stuff like that. So at the moment I'm just going to use one of these Colour by TBN lipsticks. This one is in the colour Birthday Suit. It's very similar to like a dark natural lip colour. My lips look a bit more pale at the moment because I've got a little bit of foundation on them, but my lips are fairly pale, so I find this is like a natural dark, but it still is not like lipstick obvious, if that makes sense, and the formula is really nice. Darken it up a little bit with the colour French Kiss. This is almost like a raspberry colour, so I'm just going to darken it a bit. There we go. I actually am in love with these lipsticks. This colour Birthday Suit actually lives in my handbag because I love it that much. So thank you so much to my stepsister Sam for getting me these. Like I freaking love them. And I've seen at my chemist they've got like other sets in them. They've got a summer set which is like oranges and reds, and they've got another set which is like pinks, and I'm really tempted to actually go and get them, but I have to wait a few weeks till I, you know, have some more money. But this is the basis of my everyday makeup. I don't wear setting spray. I don't wear setting spray at all. I do not think it makes any difference to my skin. It does not make my makeup last. Like, yes, it settles everything down and makes everything look more skin-like, but I think it just, I use so much powder. Like, I bake because it sets my foundation down, it sets it all together, and it really mattifies it. Now, if it was up to me, I would have nice glowy skin, but if I have a foundation that has any glow in it whatsoever, I don't even attempt to wear it. That's part of the reason why I use the Maybelline Matte and Poreless instead of the Rimmel, the L'Oreal 24-hour foundation. The L'Oreal one looks a bit more smooth on my skin. It is less coverage, but it looks just a bit more smooth on my skin and things like that. But it has the slightest satin sheen, and even when I bake, this one still lasts twice as long. Plus this one is cheaper, so that's why I go for this one. But I know my skin will look dry. Over my nose it looks a bit dry, but give it an hour or so and everything will look really skin-like. And particularly once I put my glasses on, people don't really care. I do end up with horrendous little marks right here from my glasses. My glasses basically just completely take my makeup off right here where the little nose pads sit. But I basically, this is right now, me sitting here is the first time I haven't worn my glasses during the day in like weeks, because I just need to wear them all the time now. I get really bad, horrendous headaches and sore eyes, tired eyes if I don't wear them, and I can't read and see for crap. So doing this tutorial today is actually a little bit of a challenge, because it's the first time I've been wearing my glasses completely consistently all day, every day. Like I mentioned with the setting spray, if I went and put setting spray on my face now, even the most matte setting spray in the world, it would basically undo all the baking and like the powder that I've put on. So it would take my foundation back to being like set, like I just applied it, and my face would get really sticky and it would feel really heavy, and then within like half an hour I will start and get greasy, oily. So that's why I don't use setting spray. Anyway guys, this was super long and rambly, but I hope you really enjoyed my like everyday look. It's not as intense and as bright and colourful as what some of my previous tutorials have been. I hope you really enjoyed it. I don't normally have like an everyday routine, but basically this is what I've been doing like every day. There are variations to it obviously, but like this Huda Beauty palette, basically that's my everyday eyeshadow palette. And like either 4 of these lipsticks is like my everyday ones, and then same thing like my brows and my foundation, like I use that regardless. This has basically been the only foundation I have used this year. I don't think I've put on a different foundation this year. Thank you guys for watching. The products that I used will be in the description box down below, as well as my social media sites, so you can please go and check all them out. You can hit the subscribe button down there, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.